is getting good in the ARCA Racing Series.
In the shadows of one of the great landmarks in America, the Arch, Southside St. Louis, Gateway Motorsports Park. The ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. This is the Papa Nicholas Coffee 150. It's turned into a beautiful evening after some rain earlier today. A little bit muggy at 75% humidity, but the temperature very comfortable at 73 degrees. Nice breeze out there, and most importantly, it is dry after rain interrupted much of the schedule today, but these teams did get quite a bit of testing done yesterday and some practice today. Along with Phil Parsons, I'm Vince Welch. Great to have you with us. 7 winners in 9 races this season, Phil, and here we come to Gateway, where we've not been since 2007. It's a repaved track. What should we expect tonight?
I think all of that will level the playing field here. I don't think we can have any odds-on favorites here. The only guy with any experience at this racetrack at all to speak of is Kenny Schrader, who raced here back about 12, 13 years ago. There's Kenny right there. He's going to be starting 11th in the Dryden Ford. But I really love the fact that these guys had an open practice yesterday. They had about 5 hours on the racetrack, so I think they all got up to speed relatively quickly.
Well, we talked about the fact we've had 7 different winners. How about guys that we're going to need to keep our eye on tonight?
Well, most of these guys are already winners. Zane Smith is one of the guys that I want to keep my eye on. He's a 3-time winner already this year. Broke through to get his first win. Then he went back to back to back, 3 in a row for Zane Smith. He's going to be starting from the 5th spot. Another guy I want to keep my eye on has not been to victory lane this year. He's had 2 runner-up finishes, and that's Riley Herbst. He's in the 18 car for Joe Gibbs, and he's going to be starting from the 4th position. And then we've got our most recent winner that we had on our broadcast network, Fox. That's Harrison Burton, who won the race at Pocono just a few weeks ago. 17-year-old Harrison Burton, not old enough yet to run the 1.5 miles, but he went to victory lane on that 2.5-mile race at Pocono. And Christian Eckes, who broke through with his first career win at Salem this year. He's doing double duty. He ran the truck race last week, had a top 10 finish. He's another young man. He's starting 2nd that I'm going to keep my eye on.
Yeah, 17 years old. I think some of these kids need chaperones to get here.
Well, they probably have to fly with an adult, you know.
To the racetrack. Let's check in downstairs with Jim Trado.
Yeah, with a 20-year-old driver who happens to be leading the point standings now with a breakthrough victory at Michigan. Sheldon Creed not only has been fast everywhere, he's fast today again. Practice speeds determine the lineup. You're on P1. You win the GT pole. Talk about this car and this momentum and the swing you guys have had to lead the points and have so much momentum coming into tonight.
Yeah, no, we've had a really good year so far. We've been consistent. The guys have done a great job back at the shop, but showed up with a new car this weekend, new short track car, and it's been awesome. I didn't really know what to expect when we got here, but I've loved it so far. We're shifting, so that always makes it pretty fun and kind of separates the field a little bit. So any advantage we can get or anything like that, it always makes it fun. So guys have done a great job. I guess I did my job today putting in P1, but just hoping we can have a smooth race, good pit stops, good restarts, and hopefully we're in victory lane later. So just got to give it to all my sponsors and everyone for getting us here.
Sheldon Creed will lead us to the green flag of the number 28 United Rentals Toyota, guys.
And a lot of challenges for Sheldon and company tonight, that's for sure. Hey, let's find out a little bit more about our drivers. Kind of pull back the curtain a little bit with our general tire driver profile.
The thing that you like hit on your hip, what's it called, a tambourine? Because you don't need to be good at that. And you can dance. Yep, that one.
A guitar. My Uncle Kyle, he plays guitar all the time, and I've always wanted to learn how to play guitar, but we are on the road so much I never really had time to sit down with him.
I think I'd probably play the guitar just because I feel like everyone likes somebody that can play the guitar really well. So I could like whip it out at a bonfire and just be strumming some notes. Be cool.
I wish I could play the piano perfectly without like ever going to class or anything. And I feel like that's an awesome talent to have, to play a piano. I've tried, but it's like ding, 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 ding. Not really that good.
Phil, as talented as they are as race car drivers, especially at this young age, should they really have more talent by playing an instrument?
It wouldn't be fair, would it?
It's going to be a fun one tonight. These kids have made it exciting. A nice little mix of youth and veteran talent on display tonight at Gateway. Getting ready to fire the engines from Gateway Motorsports Park for the ARCA Racing Series. Take a look back at last week's action at Madison, where Chandler Smith got his first win.
15 years old, Vince. This is his fourth start. He was on the pole for all four, and he finally finishes the deal. There he is, racing in the front row early in the race with a 27 of Travis Braden.
15 years old.
There he retakes the lead from Zane Smith on lap 126. And is going to take it on to victory lane. 15 years old in victory lane for an ARCA race.
Well, and as you said, he won the pole 3 times prior. A 4-time pole winner this season. Now has his first win. And as you look at the points, and Sheldon Creed, who we heard from earlier, your points leader, Zane Smith, a 3-time winner this season.
They've been battling from the very start of the season. Sheldon Creed finally got over the hump, got that win at Michigan. It's going to be battle all the way to the end.
Riley Herbst, Travis Braden, Chase Purdy, all in the race today and in the top 5 in points.
Crank the engines tonight, and to give the command, Chris Papadopoulos with Papadopoulos Coffee. Welcome, race fans, to the Papadopoulos 150. Drivers, start your engines.
Getting ready for race number 10 of the season. This is the halfway point in the campaign. Who's going to be the winner tonight at Gateway? Cars have just rolled off the track or off pit road onto the track here at Gateway Motorsports Park, getting ready for the ARCA race. Qualifying was canceled earlier today because of rain. Field was set by the cumulative practice speeds from the 2 sessions, and the General Tire Pole Award was presented to Sheldon Creed.
They had speed all day long, really, as well as yesterday during that open practice session.
And as our pole award winner, he will, of course, start first, and alongside Creed will be Christian Eckes. You take a look at our Papa Nicholas starting grid.
Get back in row number 2, Harrison Burton, our Pocono winner, and Riley Herbst, our winner from Pocono last year.
3-time winner Zane Smith and Chase Purdy in row 3.
Joe Graff, our runner-up at Talladega in that thrilling finish, and Brett Holmes.
Natalie Decker and Gus Dean back in row 5. Great to see Kenny Schrader back.
He sure is. Anthony Alfredo's going to make his ARCA debut. He's going to start back in row number 7.
Tony Breidinger.
Got a top 10 finish at Madison in her first start last week.
Job well done.
Mark Munier and Mike Basham back in row number 11.
Dick Donnie, Con Nicolopoulos in row 12. Wayne Peterson filling out the field. Our onboard cameras being carried tonight by 5 drivers, including Ken Schrader in the Dryden High Performance machine.
Also going to ride along with Gus Dean. This is the Greed Cooling Products Chevy. Top 6 finishes in his last 3 races, and he starts from the 10th spot.
How about Natalie Decker carrying the General Tire onboard camera? Natalie starts 9th tonight.
This is the ARCA Coolers onboard camera for the 18 of Riley Herbst, driving for Joe Gibbs. Moved up to 3rd in points with a good hot streak here lately, and he's going to be starting from the 4th spot.
And on the front row, Christian Eckes carrying the JBL speakers onboard camera. You know, I've been fortunate to spend 3 decades in this business, and I've enjoyed some great experiences, but I got to tell you, none cooler than the opportunity tonight as part of this ARCA telecast, having my son on the same telecast for the very first time. I can't tell you how special it is for me to say, let's go downstairs to pit reporter Dylan Welch.
Well, hey, Dad. Thanks. It's pretty cool for me, too. One of the guys that I'm keeping my eye on tonight is another second-generation racer, if you want to call him that, Harrison Burton, who starts third tonight. The weekend didn't get started on the best foot for them. They had an electrical issue yesterday in that open test session that was causing the car to kind of short out and shut off going down the straightaway. They changed the kill switch on the steering wheel, changed the battery, trying to get it sorted out. Think they got it figured out. Was able to run close to 50 laps yesterday in that practice session. Sounds like a lot, but only about a third as many laps as many of the front runners ran. So they think they got it sorted out. They got it better today. He was awfully fast in both practice sessions today. Harrison Burton starting third.
Thank you, Dylan. Let's take a look at that Papa Nicholas track description.
What a great racetrack. Very unique amount of quarter and length. You see the turns 1 and 2 are banked at 11 degrees. A little bit flatter, wide sweeping down there in 3 and 4 at 9 degrees. Our straightaways about 2,000 feet each. Now let's take a look at our race analysis. See, this race is 120 laps, 150 miles. You see our pit window somewhere between 80 and 90 laps. Our first race was held here back over 20 years ago in 1997, and Brian Clausen won our most recent race here in 2007.
Mark Gibson, Frank Kimmel, Ryan Hemphill, Joey Miller, Cale Gale, Brian Clausen, all former ARCA winners here at Gateway. And as you said, Phil, it has indeed been a while, and it is so good to be back under the arch at Gateway Motorsports Park with the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. This, as mentioned, the halfway point in the season with race number 10, the 20-race campaign, continuing to work our way toward the championship. Sheldon Creed, the control car on the inside, and on the outside of row 1 is Christian Eckes. It's rained throughout the course of the day, but the weather absolutely perfect now. Not a concern as the green flag waves, and we go racing for 160 laps.
What a great jump from the outside by Eckes in the 15.
Right to the front.
Riley Herbst is going around.
Can he avoid the contact? I think he is indeed going to just get around and still keep it all in one piece. I don't think anyone actually made contact with him once he lost control.
He was trying to get under the 28 of Sheldon Creed. They ran out of room. I think he may have just turned it left a little bit to try to avoid running into the 28 of Creed and wasn't able to hold on to his car.
Well, one of the things we talk about, Phil, is with this new repave is really a one-groove track, and it gets narrow when they come off those corners. Not a lot of room to move.
You see him drive underneath the 28. Didn't quite have enough room. Got his left sides on the rumble strips down there. I think it got the rear end up bouncing a little bit, and around he went. What a great job by those cars behind him. Look at Harrison Burton narrowly avoiding disaster.
Yeah, the 41 of Zane Smith narrowly missed him as well. And of course, Smith, 3-time winner this season. Last thing he wants to do is get it damaged early on with his chances to win.
See, Rowley thought he had a full lane width down there below the 28 of Creed, but when Creed got back in the throttle, he actually turned a little bit to diamond the racetrack a little bit to come off a little bit lower.
It's so narrow coming off those corners because there's just not much groove up there.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how Harrison Burton, the 12, was able to avoid the spinning 18 of Herbst.
Maybe just a little bit of right front contact with Herbst and Creed.
I think so, yes.
First lap caution here at Gateway. We're going to come back and give him the green. We'll try it again. Back at Gateway Motorsports Park for the Papa Nicholas Coffee 150, getting ready for this restart after Riley Herbst brought out the caution on the very first lap. Christian Eckes and Sheldon Creed on the front row. That's Eckes on the inside, Creed on the outside. Side by side into one. Not much room to maneuver there. Wow. How does Creed? You're not supposed to have an outside lane there.
Well, they put some rosin down. That's why that part of the racetrack is a little bit darker, Vince, than the inside of the racetrack. It looked like there was some grip up there as we see the 23 of Brett Holmes. A lot of sparks coming out from underneath that 23 car.
So Creed leads the way. Eka second in that red number 8. Chase Purdy running third.
That's Zane Smith, the black car, moving down to the inside, trying to get by the 23 of Brett Holmes. That car continues to spark.
Smith getting inside of Holmes for position, and here comes the 32 of Gus Dean working on Holmes as well. Great look from inside the 32 of Dean.
You can see the sparks in the front, the left front wheel well of that 23 car.
A lot of drivers talking about how they just haven't been able to get their cars to hook up on this racetrack. They don't feel like they've got much grip. We're going to see a lot of slipping and sliding around tonight, I'd imagine.
Yeah, one thing of these General tires, the guys were telling me that they just keep getting faster and faster. Most of these teams scuff their tires. That means they put them on as new, went out and ran 2 or 3 or 4 laps in practice to season them just a little bit. See Joe Graff, the 77, trying to get inside that 23. It's a huge amount of sparks and fire coming out from underneath that 23 car.
Yeah, Holmes continues to drop, and now Brayton.
Sideways. Was there a little contact, maybe?
I think Brayton gave him a little bump and said, I'm coming through. Move out of the way.
See Harrison Burton, the white and red number 12, get by his teammate, the 8, for the 3rd position.
Harrison Burton, a winner earlier this season at Pocono.
That 8 of Chase Purdy, he's one of the guys that I think is next, knocking on the door, getting win number 1 here in the ARCA series.
Burton had an outstanding run in the truck for Kyle Busch Motorsports last week at Iowa.
Had a career best finish of 3rd for Harrison. There's Chase Purdy running in the 4th spot.
Purdy had some tough finishes at Daytona and Talladega and Charlotte, 21st, 25th, 24th, but just about every other race this season he has been in the mix, including a season best 2nd at Toledo, and right now he's chasing that 12 of Harrison Burton, and Burton's got some ideas about moving around the 15 of Christian Eckes.
We saw that amazing job that Harrison did to avoid the spinning Riley Herbst on the 1st lap. He restarted all the way back on the 8th spot. He was up to 4th after 1 lap after the restart. Now he's going after 2nd.
Burton moving inside of Eckes for position. Well, this MDM group has really done a nice job. They've won 6 of the 9 races this season. So impressive. And there's a good look at Eckes, who runs for Venerini, a team that has won the other 3 races. So it's been a season dominated by 2 teams, MDM and Venerini. Tough to beat these guys.
This sure has. Riley Herbst and that single Joe Gibbs racing team has had a couple runner-up finishes in the last 4 races. He's knocking on the door of getting back to victory lane, but he's playing catch-up now, although he's already up to the 11th position after restarting at the very back of the field after that spin.
Here's the 52 of Ken Schrader, currently running 13th.
Great to see Kenny back out here.
18-time ARCA winner.
Kenny has won in everything he's ever driven. The Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series. As a matter of fact, Kenny was the first guy to win in all 3 of the divisions of NASCAR, because he won the inaugural season of the Truck Series back in 1995.
How about that 52, Jim?
Well, this may not be one of Kenny's favorite racetracks, but what they found with this young man is a really hot setup. They were so fortunate to get that practice in this afternoon. All that rain made them think harder about what they wanted to change on this Dryden Ford. Schrader said at the end of that practice, the car felt its best since all day practice yesterday, and today he said I'm a little bit free up at turn 4. Otherwise, boys, I think we got something to race him with.
And I like how Jim referred to him as the young man.
Exactly.
62-year-old Kenny Schrader.
I agree, he is young.
Racing keeps you that way, doesn't
That's
it?
right. Here's Riley Herbst trying to get inside Natalie Decker to take over that 10th position. Riley Herbst already back up into the top 10.
Remember, Herbst spun on that first lap, brought out the caution. Went in, they put 4 tires on it, and back out he has come, and he is marching through the field. And as Phil mentioned, back inside the top 10. Jim?
Yeah, he came down pit road, guys. I don't know if pit road was open, but they elected to roll him on through. Crew Chief Foodie Barker said when that early spin happened, he said, let's just change 4 tires immediately. They also asked ARCA officials, and they were allowed to get a brand new set of general tires for the 18 team. So they were able to replace the set that were flat spotted on that early run. Riley did say the reason for the spin was because he got pinched down way too close to the grass in that corner from Creed. So that spin was caused by not contact, but running out of room. So when he came down the pit road, they talked the ARCA officials into getting him another set, a fresh set of general tire radials.
And I think that's a great call by the ARCA officials because there's no advantage. He only had a half a lap on those tires that he spun on. If he'd run 25 or 30 laps and spun, then the ARCA officials would not have given him another set of tires.
Early going of 120 laps here at Gateway. There's that fresh set. Blew up those lug nuts. Get them ready just in case. The ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. This is the Papa Nicholas Coffee 150 from Gateway Motorsports Park, and Sheldon Creed continues to lead the way, and comfortably doing so by just over 2 seconds as he gets past Bobby Gerhardt to put Gerhardt a lap down.
Yeah, I thought the way Harrison Burton was able to drive up through the field to the second spot, I thought he may be able to do something with that gap. But it's maintained here at about 1.8 to 2 seconds for Sheldon Creed.
Creed, the points leader, as a win, 7 top 3 finishes in 9 races. Just been terrific this year. As you ride on board now with Riley Herbst, sits in that 8th spot.
Moving in on the 77 of Joe Graff. You hear that dart hitting the chip. The rev limiter is about 7,500 RPMs. That means that engine wants to turn a little bit more than that, but it's limited to 7,500 RPMs as Riley moves to the inside of Joe.
We saw a lot of shifting in the Truck Series practice earlier today. How about the ARCA cars? Are these guys shifting at all, Phil?
Most of the guys I've watched have not been shifting, but I was talking to Mark McFarland, who runs the organization for MDM and one of the owners, and he said that almost all of his guys were shifting in the MDM cars. And right now they're running 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th.
Battle for second here. The 12 is Harrison Burton. The 15, Christian Eckes.
Yes, Christian, we're riding along with the JBL on board. You see he did not shift there. Running a little bit lower on the racetrack than Harrison Burton.
Both these guys have a win this season. Burton won at Pocono. Eckes won the season opener at Daytona.
And they're somewhat teammates over on the truck side for KBM. They both ran the truck race at Iowa last week for KBM. Harrison had that 3rd place finish we were talking about. And Christian made his debut with a top 10 finish.
Finished 8th. Did a nice job, both these guys. I think these are 2 drivers obviously still in their teens. We're going to be talking about for years to come, decades to come. If you continue to follow NASCAR throughout the years, these are a couple of kids that we'll be talking about when they're grown men, I'm sure, competing for championships at the highest level. Here's Shane Huffman, the crew chief for the 12 of Harrison Burton.
Shane's already been to victory lane a couple times this year. Went to victory lane with Brandon Jones at Michigan, and then to victory lane with Harrison at Pocono.
And that MDM team, as we mentioned earlier, has been dominant this season. And it's another one, and you mentioned Mark McFarland, and along with Doug Fuller and Matt Miller, make up MDM, but they do not cut the corners. They have a very nice program, extremely well structured, and they put quality race cars on the track every week.
Yeah, they're actually running a couple cars out in Sonoma in the K&N race that will run tomorrow. So they run K&N cars, they run ARCA cars, and they run a truck on occasion as well. They went to victory lane last year with Bubba Wallace at Michigan with their truck program.
Riding on board with Eckes. Eckes, by the way, pulling double duty this weekend. He'll run the truck tomorrow night. How much of an advantage is it for these young drivers to have a double duty opportunity, as is Zane Smith here in the 41 running the truck
I think
tomorrow?
It's huge, especially coming to a racetrack like this where they have very little to no experience, new paving job. It just doubles the amount of time they get in a vehicle, whether it's a truck or a car. Yes, they don't drive the same. They're on different tires. These are on General Tire radials. The trucks are on Goodyear radials, but the racetracks are the same. You have the same bumps, the same nuances to the racetrack. I think it's a huge advantage.
And just getting laps at the same track, even if you are in a different car or a different truck, a different vehicle, just laps on the same track, I would think would have to be helpful, especially for these young drivers.
Same weather conditions. There's so many similarities, even though the vehicles are quite a bit different.
Talked a little bit about the differing color of the racing surface and resin put down on the track, and then a tire dragging machine,
the tire monster, or whatever,
used on the racing surface as well.
Yeah, you can see the different coloration of the corners. That resin was applied the second lane and up to try to create a second groove here. We've seen some good side-by-side racing. We've got a good battle going on right now for the second, third, and fourth spot. That's Zane Smith. That black number 41 right now holds down the fourth spot.
More on the 41 with Jim.
And as Zane closes on this pair of racers, he also knows what used tires feel like. Yesterday, they started the day at extended practice on 11-lap used tires, and they stayed on them throughout the entire day until they did some scuffing late in the afternoon. So after 3 hours of racing and cycling through, he knows exactly how this car feels. And as he closes in here, his spotter, Brandon McReynolds, is telling his young driver, the number 41 machine, 19-year-old Zane Smith, hey, make sure you have a plan. They might want to take your line away as quickly as you're closing on these two guys.
Just about a fourth of the way through Gateway Motorsports Park, just outside St. Louis, the ARCA Racing Series. Sheldon Creed continuing to lead the way. Let's take a look at our Scott Brand Rookie Spotlight. Zane Smith, current leader in the Rookie of the Year standings. Chase Purdy chasing him down. 46 points back. Travis Braden in the mix. There you look at the point standings for the Scott Rookie Spotlight. Your brother Benny was a former Rookie of the Year winner in the ARCA Series.
Sure was.
Back in
1965.
Yep.
Yes, he was.
Mid-60s. Yeah.
Finished 7th in points that year.
And there is Zane Smith, who has been working on Eckes and Burton, and he disposed of them finally. Once he got around Eckes, he disposed of Burton pretty quickly, but he really had to work to get around the 15 of Eckes.
Yeah, right now Zane has a good car. And while they were battling, they've actually gained a little bit of ground on Sheldon Creed. The differential between first and second was over 2 seconds when this battle started. Now they've closed down. You can see the difference right there, about 10 car lengths at about 1.5 seconds now back to Zane Smith.
How about Sheldon Creed? He's been out front for 33 laps, Dylan.
Yeah, well, and the bad news is he just came on the radio and said he's not really pushing very hard. So they're keeping an eye on Zane Smith and the fact that that gap between first and second has been closing. Crew Chief Jeff Stankiewicz has kind of been telling Sheldon that Zane has been moving up through turns 1 and 2, kind of trying to get into that rubber in that second lane. So I think maybe if Zane gets a little closer, Sheldon might turn up the wick a little bit, but he's pretty content right now with his race car.
Yeah, I think that's bad news for everybody else. Good news for Sheldon Creed and Jeff Stankiewicz. They have got that thing dialed in.
Well, if they're keeping an eye on Zane Smith, they're going to have to push the button up a little bit more here because Zane has been able to close in. He was the fastest car on the racetrack that last lap. He beat Sheldon by about 1/2 tenth, and you see some traffic that Sheldon's going to run into here in just a moment as we take a look at Christian Eckes. Thought about getting underneath the 12 of Harrison Burton coming off of 4.
And one of the things that we always talk about every time we go to a race track that is a recent repave is it just eliminates the grooves and the opportunities to have multi-groove racing until that track really gets worn down a little bit and we start seeing some character from it. That's the whole reason why they put the resin down and they drag it, try to give it more of a multi-groove racing surface. And sometimes you just got to force your way inside the way Christian Eckes did.
He got right up next to the 12, didn't really run into Harrison Burton, but got him a little bit loose, got him out of shape. Now he's going to make this move on the inside. You know, we were talking about the fact that it was a one-groove racetrack, and really Zane Smith came up there. As you see Harrison try to fight back on the inside of Eckes. He came up there and ran a little bit higher than those guys. Now those guys have adopted that same groove. They run up in the resin a little bit here. Watch the 15 of Eckes run up there in the darker part of the racetrack and make some pretty good grip there.
Well, Burton was right down there on the inside, around the curbing and almost into the grass as he entered that corner.
Yeah, Zane Smith is driven away from these two guys. This is
Eckes giving Burton a little bump and said, I'm coming through.
I think it was a slight little tap there.
Said, I'd like you to move over or I'm going to move you over.
That's just an indication of things to come.
Yes.
When you see him move up the racetrack, though, Vince, they've got their right sides for sure up there in the resin on the middle part of the racetrack.
How about Harrison Burton, Jim?
Well, you saw just as that tap was made, as soon as Harrison got the shove, he said, guys, I'm so tight in 3 and 4. I had to let him get where you got me. But Harrison Burton said he was really good in 1 and 2 all day yesterday and today, but turns 3 and 4 here in this track and has different shaped corners. That's a trouble spot for the 12 team now. He said the car is getting tighter each and every lap.
Well, it's interesting because this racetrack at 1.25 miles technically would be described as super speedway, but it really has a lot of short track tendencies here.
It really does, and I think you made the mention earlier. We talked about Iowa last week. Iowa's less than 1 mile in length, and we talk about it being racing like an intermediate track. This racetrack is way bigger than Iowa. It's 1.25 miles, and we talk about having more short track characteristics.
Saw Sheldon Creed there having to negotiate the lap traffic of Will Kimmel. And that lap traffic sometimes will create some issues for you, and especially when you're coming into a situation where a driver might not be particularly comfortable in his car for one reason or another, loose, tight, whatever the case may be, and not want to get out of the groove or out of the way.
You have to remember that these guys, even though they're getting lapped, guys and girls, Natalie Decker, the 25, just goes a lap down. They're doing all they can do to run the speed they're running. It's not that easy for them just to change lanes and move over to make room for somebody.
It's been such an impressive run this season for Sheldon Creed, even though the 41 of Zane Smith is narrowing the gap now just inside of a second lead for Creed.
See Creed now moving around the 52 of Kenny Schrader. Kenny's car better than it was during that test yesterday, but obviously not what he's looking for right now.
Kenny Schrader, the oldest winner in the ARCA series. Victorious at the age of 59. Still competitive in a variety of different types of race car. Back at Gateway and under caution for the second time tonight. This time it's the 78 of Max Tolman, who has gone around and suffered some pretty significant damage there on the right front.
Yeah, pretty early in the test session yesterday, he got into the outside wall, and his Mason Mitchell guys spent the majority of the day repairing the damage, but unfortunately that's probably going to be terminal. Jim?
Well, the driver of the number 41 machine, Zane Smith, is coming down in the second position. He'll be pitting before his teammate Sheldon Creed heads down pit road. He said the car is a bit free on entry. And his crew chief, Marty Lindley, said the car's going to get tighter as the race goes on, so we need to keep getting that car freed up for you. So they're going to do a chassis adjustment in the rear window, change 4 tires, and Marty Lindley just said let's go 1 pound up on the right rear tire, add a pound of air pressure to help this car throughout the evening. Dylan?
Well, and for the race leader, Sheldon Creed, they said they were pretty happy, but making a couple changes to it. 4 tires and fuel for him. A round down on the right rear and down on the left side air pressure. So looks like a smooth stop so far. He's not going to win the battle off pit road, though. That's won by Christian Eckes.
Great job by the Eckes pit crew to get their driver out first. So Creed and Eckes will restart on the front row, and we've seen that already a couple of times tonight, and we'll see it again when we come back. Just about to the 50-lap mark with a Papa Nicholas Coffee 150 here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Beautiful night in St. Louis for some good old-fashioned ARCA Racing Series action presented by Menards. You know, with one win and only 3 finishes outside the top 10, Dalton Sargent, super impressive as ARCA's 2016 Scott Rookie of the Year. And then he followed that up with 3 wins in 2017. Now races full-time in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. You look back at some of those 2017 wins, and he has continued to move on in that 25 machine for GMS in the trucks. And right now, standing by with Jim Trado.
And Dalton is probably the best guy to ask because we're racing with the trucks here this weekend and also next weekend at Chicagoland Speedway. And when it comes to preparation, how much did ARCA and the racing series there prepare you for now your first full season in the trucks, Dalton?
Yeah, running in the ARCA Racing Series was definitely a huge help. You know, we go to some really great racetracks in the ARCA Racing Series, and it definitely gives you some experience for when you move up the ranks.
This Thursday, a big race. You know how important it is to race well at Chicagoland Speedway, the ARCA races and the Scott 150 then. Yeah, it's really fun at Chicago. I've run 2 Scott 150s there in the past. It's a really fun race. Hopefully that those races will help prepare me for this upcoming week's truck race. You know, Scott's really happy to be presenting this race for the 4th year. So, you know, a huge thank you to those guys. And everybody can go get tickets at Menards for only $10. So I'd encourage a lot of people to get out to the racetrack and check it out. And thanks for watching along with us here on Pit Road. Dalton certainly interested in what's going on here, but he did pretty well last year. In 6 of those races on the 1.5 miles for intermediates. Top 5 finishes in all of those races. So Dalton, thanks a lot for your help. And this is indeed how he gets to the next level. Dalton's doing great this year in his first year in the trucks.
He is indeed. Got a nice battle going on with Myatt Snyder for Rookie of the Year in the Camping World Truck Series. You'll see our next broadcast of the ARCA Series from Chicagoland Speedway on one of those 1.5 miles, Thursday the 28th, 9 o'clock Eastern. It's a busy time. I mean, this is the 6th of 11 straight weeks of racing for the ARCA Series. It'll be 7 in a row next week at Chicagoland. Under caution right now at Gateway. Christian Eckes out front. Hope to have a restart when we come back. It's all tomorrow on Fox. Stream it live on the Fox Sports app.
What group is that?
The Group of Death. I love it. And you have to say it that way. You know, when it's the group of death. To say it with that voice. We're getting ready to go back green. The free pass, by the way, after the caution brought out by Max Tolman, the free pass goes to Kenny Schrader.
That will leave 12 cars on the lead lap as Kenny puts it down in 2nd gear and gets ready for this restart.
A couple of cautions. Riley Herbst spun on the 1st lap and go to the back and has worked his way all the way back up into the 5th spot. And then Max Tolman was just involved in that single car accident that ended his night, but he climbed out of the car and was okay, walked to the ambulance under his own power. Sheldon Creed on the inside and Christian Eckes on the outside as we get ready for this restart.
See what Zane Smith is able to do from row 2. He was the fastest car on the racetrack right before the caution came out.
Back there in that 2nd row in the restart with Harrison Burton. Eckes trying to get around Creed and does from that outside lane, and Zane Smith there in 3rd, little side-by-side with Harrison Burton, and I believe that's the 32 of Gus Dean. Dean's going to get the spot.
Good to see Gus having a solid run. He was up in the top 10 the entire early part of the race. We didn't get much of a look at him, but now he's moved his way up into the 3rd spot, 4th spot.
Yeah, Dean's got a little momentum going. He's up getting a tire rub on that right rear. He hit with some significance.
Yeah, looking at your scoring monitor, his last lap time wasn't too bad. take another look at Chase Purdy right now running in the 7th spot.
Fifth in points.
Runner-up finish at Toledo early this year is his best. But knocking on the door, Vince, this is another young man. I think that's he's going to victory lane. Caution is out on the racetrack now.
And
Natalie
issue
Decker
there for Natalie Decker in that 25 machine, and she's got some heavy right side damage.
She sure does. You can see the right front tire that is askew. Natalie's been very consistent this year. Had a 6th place finish last time out at Madison, which was her 2nd best finish of the year after that 5th place finish she had at Daytona.
Yeah, 3 top 10s in the last 5. Not going to be her night tonight, however. Look at that right front.
Yeah, right front and right rear damage, but some suspension damage to that right front. Let's take a look as she drives down to turn 1. Just got a little bit loose getting down in the corner. Looked like she might have it saved for a moment, then just ran out of racetrack.
Bring it in, and the crew take a look at that, but I think there's some pretty significant damage there in that right front, Phil.
Yeah, something's bent on that right front for sure, whether it's an upper control arm or an upper control arm plate. It definitely had. You can see the guy is now saying that they need something else other than putting a tire on that.
Well, the Venerini crew going to work on the 25 of Natalie Decker. Christian Eckes continues to lead the way. Fans enjoying their ARCA racing at Gateway. Gateway Motorsports Park. Our midway race recap. Riley Herbst, lap 1. Spun around, trying to squeeze through.
Good battle right here. Christian Eckes in the 15 and Harrison Burton in the 12. A little bit of a bump by Christian, and I'm coming through. Max Tallman gets into the outside wall in the 7-8 Zumi car. That will bring out a caution. In our most recent incident, Natalie Decker gets loose getting in turn number 1, gets left right rear and right front damage to the 25 car.
And another issue for the 18 of Riley Herbst, passing the pace car, so being held a lap as a penalty. That's our Protect Plus mid-race recap. Sheldon Creed has led 44 laps. Christian Eckes has led 24. Only 2 leaders we've had tonight. Odd situation with the 18 of Herbst passing the pace car. What happened, Jim?
Yeah, he rolled up. He was as high as 6, but when he brushed the wall, he was fighting a really tight condition. So as they discussed that, they decided to pit his number 18 car. He's the first pit stall in. But when he rolled down the access road, he passed the pace car, then backed up. And as the driver sat here under that 1-lap penalty, he said, hey, wait a minute. They never said there was a pit road speed on the access road. But ARCA clarified with their team, hey, you've got to stay behind the pace car at all times, not roll up, roll back. That's why he got the 1-lap penalty. So we'll see how he can rebound. They trusted him, saying, hey, you know what, do what you can. We should be in line for the lucky dog if we need it. Just keep running your race. They did not change tires. They just made the a chassis adjustment here on pit road for the 18 and the tight condition they had.
You see there on the headrest, terrible Herbst. That's not any sort of reaction to his being penalized. It's actually his grandfather started, they're from Las Vegas, started convenience store business, have many businesses, but they're convenience stores, and they offered so much in the convenience and gas stores that the competitors would always say, well, that's terrible. That's that Herbst, terrible Herbst. And it's stuck, and now that is the name of their convenience and gas stores. Terrible Herbst out in Las Vegas.
That was a terrible break.
Yes, it was.
For Riley Herbst, for sure.
Well, Sheldon Creed running second, and his crew chief is with Dylan.
Yeah, and that's Jeff Stankiewicz. How is Sheldon right now? What's he saying about the race car?
He's pretty happy with the car. We were got a little snug there the first part of the run, so coming in pit stop, freed him up a little bit. He's a little free right now. It's starting to come to him, so I feel pretty good about that. I think the longer we go, it's going to tighten up on him good enough, so we don't plan on coming back down pit road. It's just going to be really tough to pass.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to pass out there, so we got to get up there and get the lead if we can here and see if we can't stay out front.
Yeah, I mean, how crucial is that, really, track position?
It's going to be tough. Our pit stop wasn't that great. That got us behind the 8 ball to begin with. It's a little frustrating, but we just got beat there on pit road, and it's got us behind. So it can be really difficult to pass. A little worried about it, actually, but I think we're better in the 15 a little bit. But the 41, our teammate, he's just as good as us. So if we make a mistake,
they got a little bit of work to do. Sheldon Creed restarting second here, guys.
Yes. Some interesting comments there from Stankiewicz there. No, they don't plan on coming back, and really I thought important too that he emphasized the track position and how critical that is for him as he currently rides second. The 20 of Tony Breidinger gets the free pass with that caution. Good to see Tony running. Of course, Frank Kimmel working with her, part of that Venerini group.
Yeah, had a great top 10 finish at Madison. She holds the record. She's the winningest female ever on pavement in USAC. I think she has 14 midget wins, national midget wins in USAC. She's going to also run Chicago next week. It'll be the 3 of 3 in a row that she's going to run here for the Ventrinis.
Hey, let's take a look at our General Tire Super Speedway Challenge. The Super Speedway Challenge brought to you by General Tires, a championship within a championship comprised of the 9 races on the paved ovals greater than 1 mile. And this is round 6 of 9. And a separate point fund shared among the top 10 car owners. So you see those are the car owners, not the drivers.
That's Matthew Miller is the owner of the 28 that's driven by Sheldon Creed. Coy Gibbs, owner of the 18 driven by Riley Herbst. Bill Venturini, the owner of the 15 that has multiple drivers this year. Tonight being driven by Christian Eckes, our leader.
And if it's a General Tire sponsored race, it's double points. And you see the events that we have remaining.
Yeah, we'll have 3 remaining next week in Chicago. Then the second time we go to Pocono. And then the finale at Kansas in October will crown that champion as well as our overall champion for the year.
Championship within the championship. Double the fun. The General Tire Super Speedway Challenge. Well, they're on the backstretch coming to the restart here as we are on lap 72. So less than 50 to go. And this is that opportunity, I think, as Jeff Stankiewicz said, track position being critical, and his driver, Sheldon Creed, has to get around the driver that we're looking at right there on the onboard, Christian Eckes, on this restart.
And not let the 41, their teammate, to get by them, who's going to restart in third. Other than that, he doesn't have to worry about a thing.
It'll be Creed on the inside and Eckes, the control vehicle, on the outside, with Gus Dean and Zane Smith behind them in row 2. Chase Purdy and Harrison Burton lined up in the 3rd row. The green's out, and we're racing again at Gateway. side by side, 4 rows deep.
Whoa. Creed gets loose. 3 wide, though. Right side of your screen.
Travis
Contact.
Braden making some contact and getting a little wild and wiggly, and he gathers it up and coming right back.
He's racing with the 40 of Anthony Alfredo. This is his debut. This is another one of the cars out of the MDM stables. He's running the K&N series for MDM this year full time.
Travis Braden in that 27, a former series winner. Meanwhile, at the front, it's still Eckes on top of Creed, but Creed is challenging as you look at there at Harrison, Burton, and Purdy.
Looks like these guys are realizing that there's some grip up there in the middle part of the racetrack, Vince.
And I also think they're realizing it's go time. I mean, you got to make something happen. You can't assume that you're going to have a chance later in the race. You got to get it now and hold on to that track position. Better to be in front and holding on to the track position than trying to gain it.
You're right. You think, well, there's 46 laps to go. That's plenty of time. You want to get while the getting's good. If you can get by him now, as Zane Smith tries to get by the 32 of Justine. Great battle for the 3rd spot. Ooh.
Oh, contact.
Looks like Zane got into the outside wall. There may have been contact.
And that caution is out, and significant damage for the 3-time winner, Zane Smith.
Going to have huge point implications possibly for Zane, who comes in here just 55 points behind Sheldon Creed. Let's see if there's some contact right here.
Smith and Gustine. Smith gets a little bit loose. They cut a tire down, maybe that right front.
I think he just got a little bit loose there, Vince. It didn't look like there was that much contact that caused him to get loose. Pretty significant damage, though, to the right side of that 41 car.
I thought the way after he got loose, the way he just kind of veered into the wall, maybe he didn't have the control, but it is indeed heavy damage for the 41 of Zane Smith, and as you mentioned, Phil, a big blow to his championship hopes. He sits 2nd in the championship standings, came into this race 55 points behind Sheldon Creed, and we got a lot of racing left, but you don't want to let Creed get too far out in front of you. It's playing catch up in this series going to be tough with a driver of the capabilities of Sheldon Creed.
Yeah, here's Zane going to make his way down to pit road now.
This is riding inside the 32 of Gus Dean.
Yeah, Gus was on the outside. A little bit of contact right there, but Gus just holds his line. I'm not sure there was any more contact, and Zane just got a little bit loose. Right there, he gets a little bit loose.
Yep.
And just ran out of room, Vince.
I think you're right. I don't think he had cut a tire down at all. Nope. It's up at right front. Well, Creed making his way, or excuse me, Zane Smith making his way to his pit box where Jim Trado is waiting.
Crew Chief Marty Lindley said, let's get the bear bond ready. We may only change 2 tires. Let's take a good look at him. He did not spin, so maybe we'll keep the lefts on there. Let's change 2 right sides, get that fender fixed. Zane Smith had climbed to 4th in the General Tire Super Speedway Challenge points after a 26th place finish at Daytona. This is a big blow for this team, going for all the championships they can muster on the short tracks and here on the super speedways. They continue to look and see if there's clearance there. They've got that. They're not even addressing the left side tires, so maybe just 2 tires and see if the fender can clear. Zane just said, hey guys, I just flat out got a little high off of that corner. I was racing too hard and I lost it.
Yeah, that's what it looked like, Jim. And there's not a tremendous amount of damage, although it sounds like he shut the car off. Maybe he has a radiator leaking or something underneath the car. Let's see if Zane's able to get back out without losing a lap. There's only 12 cars on the lead lap right now.
Well, and Riley Herbst gets his lap back as the free pass with that caution being brought out. We're going to break, coming back, and we'll go racing again. Less than 50 to go at Gateway. Eckes back on the move. I couldn't tell from that angle, Phil, but he certainly went up the track as if there might have been.
They both went wide. Sheldon Creed drove it hard down in the corner, down into turn number 1.
It was like a game of chicken. They were going to drive it down there and see which one would turn last.
I don't know whether Christian maybe just moved up to give him more room and then maybe got his right sides out of the good grippy stuff.
I don't think they did touch. This angle will give us a better indication. So close. I think you're right. I think he just might have gotten out of the groove a little bit because he was so far deep in the corner.
Well, he had to give Creed some room, or Creed would have taken him out.
Get a better angle here from the onboard of Gus Dean. Let's see if we... Now Purdy right there in the way. Hard to tell.
Yeah, that was the first lap after the restart.
But Sheldon Creed has gone back to the front. He's led the most laps tonight, 47, and Eckes has led 35. Gus Dean runs third, Harrison Burton fourth, and then there's Eckes in fifth.
Right now, Creed has the all-important track position. Huge advantage right now, especially over Eckes, who's back in the fifth spot.
Well, we heard Jeff Stankiewicz, the crew chief for Sheldon Creed, tell Dylan earlier that track position was going to be so important, and that was a concern of his, so you knew that restart, which is the best opportunity to pass, was going to be critical, and it was. Now Purdy finds himself in a challenging position of second place, Dylan.
Yeah, and they've kind of been struggling so far tonight, just trying to get a balance and a handle on their race car. Chase was saying that he was free on entry and tight through the center, and the fact that he was free on entry was making him more tight as he tried to rotate the car through the corner. So they've been trying these last couple runs to just get that race car dialed in. They made a couple changes, or made a change the last time he came down pit road. They feel like they're pretty good right now, and Coley Barraquaw, the crew chief, told him to go get him, run down Sheldon Creed, and try and compete for this win.
Well, when you haven't got a race car that'll turn the way you want it to, it's hard to chase down anybody.
It really is. But Dylan reported as he's loose getting down to the corner, then it's hard to make yourself turn that wheel, and then you're going to find yourself not turning very well in the center. You got to be able to get in that corner so you can have the security and a little tug on that wheel where you can turn it and turn through the center.
Well, that battle heating up for third as Harrison Burton starting to warm up the back bumper of Gus Dean. And if they would happen to slow up at all, you're going to have Christian Eckes trying to pounce on both of them.
Time's running out. You see 35 laps to go. It seems like it was just a minute ago. There was 48 laps to go. Now we're inside of 35 laps to go.
Well, it doesn't take long around this mile and a quarter, doing laps in less than 35 seconds. There's Riley Herbst pressuring the 77 of Joe Graff Jr. That's for sixth.
Been a solid night for Joe Graff. Has been up in the top 10 the entire time. Riley Herbst has certainly had his issues. He spun out on lap number 1, had a 1-lap penalty on our most recent caution flag. Or 2 caution flags to go, was able to get the free pass, now battling Joe for the 6th spot.
Yeah, for a track that's extremely difficult to pass on, I think Riley Herbst has passed about everybody twice.
He's gonna get the award for passing the most cars for sure.
Jim?
And one reason why he's so fast, he did change 2 tires, guys, so he's showing everybody what a 2 right-side tire change can do under these conditions. So if there's another caution, maybe Herbst is the guy they're all watching now to say, you know what, if we take 2, we could be as fast as Riley later in the race.
Well, in that battle with Joe Graff Jr., I think Graff got into the wall.
He did. Riley got it on his inside, and we saw just a glimpse of the 77 of getting into the outside wall coming off turn number 2. To see if we can check the damage on the right side. There's not a great deal of damage. I don't see any tire smoke yet at this point, but he's lost another position to Travis Braden, actually a couple more positions to Anthony Alfredo and Travis Braden.
So Graff slips back Even though he doesn't look to have a lot of damage, just losing that momentum is significant. Takes you a while to get it wound back up. Losing a couple of positions, and then those positions are extra tough to get back.
Yeah, his last lap was 3 seconds off the guys he was racing around.
There's Harrison Burton continuing to chase Gus Dean for third. They're about 3 seconds behind the leader, Sheldon Creed, coming to 30 to go.
Creed has a little bit over a second lead on Chase Purdy right now. Chase is almost 2 seconds ahead of this battle for third between Gus Dean and Harrison Burton.
Here's a replay of that Riley Herbst and Joe Graff Jr.
Okay, this is a start-finish line as they get down in turn number 1. We're right along with Riley Herbst, and just out of the right corner of our eye, you could see the 77. You see him get way wide. He got loose and had to chase it up there, and you see the contact with the outside wall right there.
Burton, the move on Gus Dean for third. Pulls up alongside. Dean trying to hold on.
It seems to me now the middle of the racetrack is the preferred line up in that resin that they've applied, and Gus Dean's able to hold them off.
Man, heck of a challenge from Burton, but Dean was able to fight him back. Let's see if it works this time. Again, side by side, a little bit of contact. A lot of paint being exchanged tonight, and here's Eckes saying, I'm going to try to get 2 for 1 right here.
I don't know if there's room for 3 of them down there.
Somebody's going to have to get out of it, or are they? 3 wide through the corner. Are you kidding me?
On a one-groove racetrack, right?
Wow. And Dean somehow still keeps the position. And now Eckes inside of Burton.
So hard to make yourself drive that car down in the corner, knowing that you have a car on your outside. You get the least bit of loose, you're going to make contact.
Wow, that was terrific racing. Yes, Kim, I exactly know what you mean. We had a very similar look on our face when they went 3 wide into that corner.
And they made it work. Great driving by those 3 guys.
Christian Eckes, that was exactly what he wanted to see. He wanted to see Burton and Dean get side by side, and maybe both of them get up out of the groove so he could grab them both. He tried, but somehow Dean still came out in front of the 2. Burton going to challenge again.
Harrison knows that time's running out now. They're about 3.5 seconds behind Chase Purdy, who runs second.
Burton to the bottom one more time for a shot at it. Dean a little bit more momentum coming off the corner of 4, and across the line, 26 to go. Burton not giving up.
Gus has really done a nice job holding down this 3rd spot. He's just running his line. It's a great run off the corner, though, that lap by Harrison.
This time Burton with a little bit of an edge as you watch the battle from the window of Christian Eckes. And Burton, is he going to get him this time? Oh, lap car. And now they squeezed Bobby Gerhart. How about that?
And Gus Dean able to hold him off again. Now Harrison's going to take another run at him down on the inside.
Eckes just waiting for the door to open up so he can pounce on a position.
Harrison made it work. They made just a slight bit of contact in the middle of the corner, and Harrison was able to emerge with 3rd.
Great work from Harrison Burton. Patience and diligence finally paid off as he gets that spot, 3rd place. But all that battling left them about 6 or 7 seconds behind the leader, Sheldon Creed.
Yeah, Creed now has opened up over a 3-second lead on Chase Purdy. What these guys right here need is a caution flag to catch back up.
Now, Phil, they've got tires in the pits. If we get a caution, would you see them coming? We've seen tires make a difference, but with this few laps left, would you come? Would you take the gamble or not?
If I'm in the back half of the top 10, for sure I would come in and take a gamble. All the guys said there's really not that much speed differential between new tires and old tires. That last lap, they ran a 33.15 was the fastest lap. Actually, 32.97 by Harrison Burton was the fastest lap on the track. That was about as fast a lap as we saw all day long.
Closing in on 20 to go. How about this? 3 wide for the spot. Yeah, Mom, I know it. Nail biter. Sheldon Creed out front. The ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. It's the Papa Nicholas Coffee 150. Creed leads by about 3 seconds over Chase Purdy, Harrison Burton, Gus Dean, Christian Eckes rounding out the top 5. I think I mentioned earlier that Eckes won at Daytona. He won at Salem, and trying to win his second of the season. As you look at the 40 of Anthony Alfredo, one of those 5 cars running out of the MDM stable.
Yeah, his debut here, doing a real nice job. Solid run tonight for Anthony Alfredo. Drove last year in the late model series for Dale Jr. Actually finished second in the Cars Tour points. Won a couple races in the Cars Tour, driving for Dale Jr. as a teammate to Josh Berry, and moved over to MDM to run the K&N series full-time this year, and making his ARCA debut tonight. Nice job by Anthony.
You mentioned Josh Berry. That's another guy that he can wheel it.
Sure can.
Good
Seems
racer.
like every time he goes to the racetrack, he wins.
Yep. Good racer. Less than 20 to go here at Gateway. The midway point in the ARCA season. This is race 10 of 20. Next week at Chicagoland Speedway.
See that yellow car? That's Joe Graff. Remember, we saw him get to the outside wall, battling with Riley Herbst. He lost the spot to Travis Braden. Actually passed Travis back a couple laps ago, not trying to chase down the 40 of Anthony Alfredo. That's Chad Bryant Racing. That's the team formerly known as Cunningham Motorsports, who won the championship a couple years ago with Chase Briscoe. Chad Bryant bought that team out from Cunningham and is doing a nice job. Joe's really run well. Did not run Daytona, but has been solid ever since. Had that great second place finish at Talladega. Lost by a 1/10,000th of a second, I think. And then had a great third place run at Hickory as well. But solid top 10 finishes throughout the year here for Joe Graff.
Yeah, 3 top 5s. For 4th, nice battle there between Gus Dean and Eckes. Eckes has been up front and led 35 laps tonight, but on a restart, he and Sheldon Creed fighting over position, and Eckes just ran out of room, got up the track and lost 3 or 4 spots, and that's why he finds himself back in the 5th position.
See Riley Herbst now closing in on this battle. Remember, both the 15 of Eckes and the 18 of Riley Herbst doing double duty this weekend. Will run the truck race tomorrow night that we'll have on FS1.
All getting inside there, the 20. That's Tony Breidinger, the 18-year-old, running her second race here in the ARCA series. Made her debut last week at Madison, finished 10th. She'll also run next week at Chicago.
Having a solid run right now, running on 12th spot. If we get a caution flag, she's the only car 1 lap down, so she would be in line to get the 3 pass, but laps are running out.
Riding on board with Riley Herbst. Passed a lot of cars tonight. I mentioned he spun on the first lap trying to get inside for a position. Had to go to the tail. Received a penalty after coming to pit road, and then passing the pace car. Had to sit on pit road, get held for a lap, and again has marched his way back well inside the top 10. Herbst has had a fast race car tonight, just hasn't been able to get it in the position to lead.
Yeah, I think he has a faster car right now than both Eckes and Dean. Not sure he's going to have enough time. He's chased them down from a long way behind.
Out of the Joe Gibbs Racing stable. So no surprise that that car's fast. Everything that rolls out of the Gibbs garage has speed.
That's right. Driving for Kyle Busch tomorrow night. Yep. So you know that's going to be a good effort in the 51 truck.
But they're all chasing Sheldon Creed. He's the series points leader. A winner this season just a couple of weeks ago at Michigan. His first win. Harrison Burton, one of those that's hoping for a caution to bunch him back up and maybe have another shot on a restart, Jim.
Yeah, after that 3-wide run and the panic on the pit box by his mom, Kim, it settled into where the spot, and it's been with these young men's representation entire late model career. Brandon Lines, that spotter, Brandon Lines turned into a cheerleader saying, hit your mark, stay in your line, stay focused. And he's now caught him. He's now within 3.5 seconds, or just a little over. That's 2 seconds better than he was about 15 laps ago. So he's chomping away in this Dex Imaging Toyota to get to these leaders. But yeah, that caution would help a bunch for this young driver. 17 years of age, already a winner here in ARCA at Pocono.
Eckes and Dean side by side for 4th.
Dean just made that outside line work.
Well, we've seen a lot of side-by-side racing on a one-group race.
We sure have. Eckes is able to make the move. Now let's see if he can cross it over. Dean's back to the inside.
Gus Dean with the crossover on Eckes as they go battling, and Riley Herbst is hanging right there in the shadows. So Eckes gets the spot from Dean, and now Herbst eyes an opportunity to get inside the 32.
See if he can drive it hard down in turn number 1. Contact.
Seen a lot of rubbing tonight, and Herbst does indeed get that position.
Gus Dean's car seems to be a little bit off getting down in the corner. That allows those guys to pull up beside him. Then from the center off, he's as good or better than them. But they got in the corner so hard they made contact, moved him up the racetrack a little bit.
Less than 10 to go. A little contact here between Eckes and Dean as well, possibly.
Absolutely. See, he drives hard down in the corner, then to make a little bit of contact.
Riley Herbst had a good view of it.
You see Eckes slide up into the second lane and make contact with Dean.
Seen several drivers use that car on the outside as a little bumper to get your pass made.
Well, 8 tires bets are better than 4, for sure.
How about it? Sheldon Creed continuing to lead the way. Coming to 5 laps to go for Sheldon Creed. With a comfortable advantage as long as something doesn't go wrong. But remember, as this lap traffic, as he's got some of it up in front of him, got to be careful, because one little bit of getting up out of the groove and you can lose time in a hurry, as you see Jeff Stankiewicz, his crew chief, there on the right side of the screen.
Ben Sheldon had an 18th place finish with trouble at Hickory. Otherwise, his worst finish this season, 4th.
Terrific. And Stankiewicz deserves a lot of that credit. The guys that put that car together, build it. Stankiewicz, the leader of that group. And to have a driver like Sheldon Creed who can wheel it, it's not by accident. This young man is out front. Your championship points leader and working on his 2nd win of the season.
During practice at Charlotte, Sheldon actually got into the wall, and Jeff Stankiewicz and his guys made the repairs that they needed, and he ended up finishing 3rd in that race. Been a solid season here for Sheldon Creed and this MDM team.
There's the 15 of Eckes, who's led 35 laps. The only other driver to lead tonight besides Creed, and he and Sheldon Creed had a couple of good battles on restarts. Ultimately, that was the decisive moment where Creed was able to get around Eckes after a restart battle, and now Eckes is going to be charged with trying to hold off the 18 of Riley Herbst for 4th, as Herbst is on the move.
And coming to 2 laps to go this time. Herbst is going to be able to get to him. Not sure he's going to have enough time to make the move, Vince.
2 laps remaining. Eckes and Herbst, that's for 3rd place. But everybody's chasing that young man, the 28 of Sheldon Creed, with a 2-second advantage over 2nd place Chase Purdy. Creed comes around, the white flag, the final time around for Sheldon Creed.
Just a great drive here by Sheldon Creed.
Coming up on Kenny Schrader up ahead of him. Schrader back in the 11th spot. The tail end of the lead lap. Creed through 3 and 4. He's going to do it tonight. The winner for the second time this season, Sheldon Creed, victorious at Gateway.
Eckes is going to hold on in that battle for fourth.
Chase Purdy, Harrison Burton, Christian Eckes, and Riley Herbst rounding out the top 5. But Sheldon Creed is the winner of the Papa Nicholas Coffee 150. His second victory in the ARCA Racing Series this season. The points leader for a reason. Impressive tonight, leading 85 of the 120 laps. Exciting one tonight here at Gateway in the ARCA Racing Series. Sheldon Creed the winner. Harrison Burton finished third.
It is 4th of 10 races this year, guys. Harrison Burton again impressed in the number 12 machine for MDM Motorsports. You were really good on the long runs. That car was flying.
Yeah, we were really good on the long runs. I just needed to get my restarts together. They were pretty disappointing tonight. You know, it's hard. You jump from car to car. I ran like 4 different cars, and they all got different gear ratios every week, and I was just struggling tonight. And I just need to get better at restarts, man. That's my biggest weak point, I think. And once I get in a race, I feel like I'm really good. I just need to get going better, and you know, got to go to work, got to get better.
But you also proved this is not a one-groove racetrack. 3-wide race in there for a while.
Yeah, it was fun. You know, once we came down and got those 4 new General tires on, it was a little sketchy, but we had fun, and that's what it's all about. You got to race really hard here to get past track position. I see my mom was pretty scared, like usual, but yeah, it was something that is cool about ARCA racing is there's always hard racing no matter where you are.
That's Harrison Burton, another strong top 5 run tonight.
Thank you, Jim. And Sheldon Creed with the victory tonight and continuing with the stronghold on his championship or potential championship. And certainly as you look at the standings, he's bumped that up by 100 points over the lead that he had coming in to tonight's race.
Gained a solid 100 points on Zane Smith. See Riley Herbst back there in third, 330 points out. Then a good battle for 4th, 5th, 6th.
Chase Purdy, Travis Braden, Gus Dean, Natalie Decker, Brett Holmes, Joe Graff, Con Nicolopoulos rounding out the top 10. Well, Christian Eckes gave it a shot tonight. Just came up a little bit short, ended up 4th. He's with Dylan.
Yeah, he was kind of on the short end there of that battle with Sheldon Creed at the end there. Christian, what are your thoughts just kind of on that restart and then the battle there towards the end?
You know, my team brought me a great car. You know, unfortunately, things didn't go our way. I'm not really sure what happened. Either he got in my left rear, packed some air, just kind of sent me up the racetrack, and you know, unfortunately put us behind. And you know, it was so hard to pass today. But you know, General Tire gave us a great tire to race on today, and it was very, very raceable. But the track, you know, top really came in more than I thought it was going to, and you know, Gateway did a great job making it a lot raceable compared to last year. So, you know, as a whole, I guess there's a replay there. I'm not really sure, but like I said, the guys brought me a great car. It's just unfortunate, you know, that we don't come home with the finish we deserve.
Did you learn anything tonight you can apply to the truck race tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like I said, the grip, or I don't really know what they put up there, but you know, whatever it was, it really came in more than I thought it was, and I think it's going to be a big factor in the truck race tomorrow. And you know, we had a really good truck today. We were first in the first practice, and I think we were 9th or so in the final practice. So there's really something to look forward to tomorrow. But you know, we go to Iowa next with this team, and I'm really excited about it.
Christian Eckes comes home in the 4th spot. Jim Trado is with our 5th place finisher.
Another driver that's racing tomorrow night here on Fox Sports in the Truck Series is Riley Herbst, driver for Kyle Busch Motorsports. You had a busy day today, but this race was eventful for you. Raced through the field at least 3 times.
Yeah, definitely. We had to come back and forth a lot. I can't thank General Tire enough for bringing us a good tire so I could go through the back and forth a lot and pass as many cars as I did.
You got in the wall once, you got the caution you needed, then that penalty. But when you got in the wall, what's that car feeling like? Is that going to help you tomorrow night as well?
No, on the wall was totally me. I was just trying to get as much as I can. We're on the edge 110%, so I was driving it to the ability, and I just pushed it a little too far there. But we were able to bounce back, get the lap back, and everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing gave me a great car. And just clean air is king. You've seen it from Sheldon. So if you had clean air, you're going to win the race. And we got stuck back in the pack a couple times, so that hurt us.
I caught you jogging between the ARCA garage and the NASCAR Truck Series garage. What did you learn tonight that will help you tomorrow?
Clean air, like I said. I mean, if you clean air, ain't nobody can pass you here. So, but the top lane definitely came in a little bit, which is kind of interesting. We'll see how it works tomorrow. It was fun, but hopefully we can have a better run and a result tomorrow.
A pair of second-place finishes and a pair of top 5 fifth-place finishes here in the last 4 Super Speedway races for Riley Herbst and his team.
Yeah, impressive showing from Herbst, and we'll look forward to him in the trucks tomorrow. Qualifying tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then Camping World Truck Series race day at 8 with the race getting underway a little after 8:30 over on FS1. You'll see it all.
Yeah, can't wait for tomorrow. We saw this racetrack got pretty racy here tonight. Can't wait to see what the truckers do tomorrow night.
Sheldon Creed, the winner tonight at Gateway, his second victory of the season, increasing his lead in the points championship, and you see what's ahead for Creed and company, including next week on FS1 at Chicagoland Speedway.
As you mentioned earlier, it's 11 weeks in a row for these guys. That'll end up at Pocono on the 27th that we'll have right here on FS1.
Of course, the season wraps up at Kansas Speedway in October. Well, this is the halfway point in the season, Phil. 10 of 20 in the books. And anybody catch Sheldon Creed?
I think so. We just had a tough break that time for Zane Smith. It's been so good, though. 3 wins already. So I think it's still going to be a battle all the way to the end.
You see next week, Chicagoland Speedway on Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern. Well, it was a fun one tonight. Man, we saw some great racing. 3 wide at times when we were sure it wasn't going to work. It was a lot of fun. Thanks to Jim Trano and Dylan Welch down on pit road. For Phil Parsons, I'm Vince Welch. Kevin Lee will be back with you next week from Chicagoland Speedway. Congratulations to Sheldon Creed, the winner at Gateway.